Hello, full of us. Welcome back to Shiare. On today's episode, we have Jerry versus ESHCA on a $3,000 money match. Race to 21. Every evening, dear viewers. Welcome back to John Pogman Grill in Nairobi for yet another day of action. It is post-Easter weekend. It is actually Tuesday on the 7th of April 2026. Once again, we are at the Great Mchana Polo Club, one of the fondest pole-playing avenues on the entire African continent. Today we are having rematch of action between Jeremiah Naide all the way from South Africa and ESHCA Chimbanda all the way from Zimbabwe. Now, this is the history of this competition. About 3 weeks ago, when the tour of Ugandans and Zimbabweans and the Zambian and, of course, Kenyans themselves, Tanzanians, as well as Emmawen did have an influx into Kenya, ESHCA did not want to miss out on this. He decided to invite any player on the African continent who was able to play with him, but for him, not simply to play, to convert in one country for action. His intention was to have home and away action, racing to 21 for $3,000 for anyone that was willing to travel to Harare at the ESHCA Vickers Polo Arena. ESHCA was as well willing to travel to any of his new management team. The two faced off in Harare. The match was won quickly by Jerry in a race to 21 for $3,000. That match ended 21 frames to 9. It was such a demolition. Of course, ESHCA has to respect the fact that it was supposed to be home and away action. As for Jerry, his choice of home team is Chana Pogman Grill in Nairobi. Today, we're having part 2 between ESHCA and Jerry, most especially after Jerry won part 1 and won it very convincingly. It is 2 friends that have been played so far. Both have been won by the home player. That is Jerry. They are racing to 21. They'll be willing to travel to your venue and is being gentleman enough even after losing the first leg with such a big score. He's still giving Jerry a match and could be winning the first out of 3. Now wanting to put black to the side pocket on the right, in what will be the Zimbabwean's first frame being won in the match. It is Jerry 2 and ESHCA 1. And once again, we're having live lead round this action. Down to conclusion. Jerry 2, ESHCA 1, rest 21.
Yes, see, I mean, yeah. Oh, I can't. Yeah, I give you those days, give you but, once.
Sorry, race to 9 by the Ugandan youngster Jackson Asiko. He did better when his team. And in another way, a very special thank you to ESHCA's management, Names and Select. He's one of the most international championship in Eldoret in this country, as Jerry Banks and the penultimate raid he has work to do. Maybe cut the raid onto the right pocket to the corner pocket top left. Tricky. Foul. It could go in. Very fortunate for him, a little unfortunate for ESHCA. Even though he opts for the top raid, it has to be maximum cut. Din black and white is in, and the frame is lost by the South African. Amidst laughing.
Look at that. Wait, no.
Estimated 2 hours and 45 minutes of action in this match could be a little too much. There is aspect. She played 7 matches against some of the best Kenyan female players, winning 7. And she's living in a Ugandan called Bishiro. On the tour, she has played 1 match and has won it. The Ugandan youngster Herbert Makisa is exiting tomorrow morning, such that the following day he will be in time to catch up with his school program. ESHCA will be leaving tomorrow. His duty here has been won. He kept himself out of the singles boarding the Kenya Airways flight back to Harare tomorrow in the afternoon. And the expectation is that both Aiden and Caesar want to follow him there. This, I can tell you, he's a much better player than what you guys saw in the first race against Jerry. Because, well, Jerry may be a more renowned shooter, but 21-9 is a little bit deceptive. ESHCA showed me evidence. I did ask him, because it's my friend, that how comes you played like Francis when the two, you and Jerry, faced off the first match. Then he said, I had to respect Jerry because he gave me a match here, 21. 3 years ago. And the time I've ever been closest to him is when him and his then intern playing many matches against some of Uganda's best players. He had matches against Ibrahim. Kayancho had the match against Yoda Simbusi. He had a match against Caesar Chandiga. He won against Yoda. He lost against Caesar. He also reached the final of a 64-man competition that was held in Kampala at the venue that is called the UN Polo Arena. He came second to the then winner, Ibrahim Sijemba, exposure. That saw him the following year win the biggest achievement of his life when he took down Stanford Gente in the final of the Timbuktu International Carnival, coming home with $11,600 as he misses rector of the ESHCA Polo Arena. A very beautiful venue, having employees, courtesy of winning that competition that was organized right. For those that are watching from Q Pixels Photography as well as Peter Chugalive for the last few seconds, please accept my apologies for that broken network, but now we are good to go. What I promise that every time it happens, I'll be trying my best. All I do is switch between gadgets, switch between network providers, switch between either way gets us sorted. 4 frames to 3. Jerry is in the lead, and that was this guy, ESHCA. And it wasn't the first time that he was defeating Kelvin. So it draws his pattern that would be very critical. When taking on a shooter as good as Jerry, you have to utilize all your opportunities. If you don't, he will. And the frames he wins, he makes very light work of them. I have no doubt he's Africa's potting machine. Nobody, I know the African continent has better ability to pot a ball, and nobody plays at speed that he does. In fact, he has the record for the fastest frame ever been won in African competition, 33 seconds. He broke and finished against Caesar in the ATA Africa 16-man competition in 2024. That was won by Kelvin. He did that against Caesar in the round of last 8. He's on the verge of playing the last yellow on the pool table. Wanting to put it on back to the same corner pocket, but my keyboard will be very tricky. That is very good English of the keyboard. Not easy shooting this, especially given the spin on the keyboard that moved it against the cushions, and just in place for him to put black to the corner pocket where he put it the yellow. The South African now. You are watching. That is really a success story for a guy like this one. But he's so known for those road guys. But here comes one of them. Places like such, and normally the places where the best talent comes from. For most of the countries, not just poor, sports like boxing, even other talents like music, they come from through the neighborhood, and we are all safe. He could be having a chance of winning a frame against the guy, Jerry, that is born in Durban in South Africa. He's the best pool player that comes from the city of Durban. And it is where he has some of his fondest results, winning the 80,000 rands. He has since then played, if I'm not mistaken, about 4 money matches against Aiden, winning 3. And where ESHCA is playing the penultimate, hero has to get to target, has to get the keyboard check and target with a beautiful backspin. Another apple, a red one this time, as red as ESHCA is dressing. He may want to put both yellow and black to the same side pocket on the right, depending on how good he'll be playing the keyboard. With the top spin of 2 cushions round the red, a little bit too much power, but he will seemingly be fine. Because if he plays the keyboard into the red, it supports the stopping of the keyboard. Black is sunk, white is safe, ESHCA 4, Jerry 5. Rest is being away from home for about a month. He's been having a tour of Nigeria, successful one it was. And from Nigeria, he flew to Nairobi. The team wasn't on time as well to participate in the singles. But many matches, if a player performs well in them, can come to. Nowadays, it is not largely contestable when someone calls him Zimbabwe's finest. And with all due respects to my young brother Malvan Mukonza, ESHCA has been outplaying him and outmatching him, despite Malova being the last winner of the national, including a tournament that I streamed in Mashingo, where he beat Malova in the semi-finals. But the Timbuktu International Championship victory is the one that stands out tallest, the one that makes other Zim players a little bit of boys compared to his being a man. And his bottom words, it has to be perfect. It may be. ESHCA just lacked a little bit of power, can only play black off the cushion. There's a possibility of potting, but you're with me as well. Play the ball into the red off the cushion. Black is not potted, and highly likely the sport sometimes is not very kind. After that very narrow miss, the frame is on the verge of instead being won by Jerry. Was the work of now putting 3 reds. 1, the pocket where there is the black. He avoids the black with purpose. Moves the keyboard entirely rightwards. He will want to put with stop effect on the keyboard. Just like that. The rest is a formality. Jerry 6 and ESHCA 4.
Yes, that's the only. But I thought it myself. This was you know. Yeah. Okay, another hospital. Look like you stop. Yes. What was so much? Yeah, okay. I think yes, yes. That you oh, you go. Happy? I'm going down. I have thought you are. I feel nice.
Here comes Africa's putting machine dear viewers. Every time he has a turn on table, he has one thing in the mind. Finishing the frame. He's not thinking of anything any different, and he's not doing anything any different, wanting to put black high power. Yet again, Jerry. It is so far 1/4 quarter that has been done. Perhaps one more frame. The score is times before. That is a certain Mr. Caesar Chandiga. And he will want action with Jerry or to whom it may concern. And he's a very popular figure here, most especially with the China fraternity. There is also it can really mean to be tiring. But when it is passion driven, here comes the ESHCA. The yellow near the side pocket on the right is what will be some kind of problem ball. How good the keyboard be of the top cushion. That is perfection at its very best. He's demonstrating that what Jerry can do, ESHCA can do as well, just that Jerry does it with a little bit more consistency. Another frame, another apple. By the Zimbabwean ESHCA versus the Black to record the 5th out of 12. And yes, he does. ESHCA 5, money. Kevin, Yagon. And also Jerry's boss, Big Kells, watching the action right at the venue. He does expect nothing short of victory, most especially Jerry having one away from home. And the article be home away from home. Nothing short of victory from his management is expected. Of course, original home, native home, is Umlazi, near Durban in South Africa. But now, professionally speaking, the choice of home benefit, dear viewers, will be the very last tour at Mchana in its current form. Thereafter, the venue is going to be demolished and revamped and expanded. And when it is reopened, it will be made even bigger. When the international African community is re-invited, it will be bigger and better. 8 frames to 5, ESHCA is down. Playing for 6. Something is doing right. Oh, he does play a lot of safeties because they can always haunt you. Some of the time when he was playing his first game, that could have been the reason why the scores were so low. I remember 15-5 at one point. When you're at home, that is a little not accepted. Perhaps not acceptable. And special thanks to Boss Neves, and we call him of his career, courtesy of winning the Team Maxwell International Championship in Eldoret, which is just about maybe after that miss by ESHCA. Here comes Jerry. Every time he's on table, it's just one thing in his mind. Win the frame with what will be his ongoing bits of the table. And when he's playing, it is entertainment. And look at this. His intention was maybe to play the keyboard into ESHCA's yellow. Sometimes, one day, the management will arrest him for hitting some balls so bad if he ever breaks a ball. I'm kidding. Now wanting to put his backspin to the keyboard into a position where I can play at least one of the red spiral right to the corner pocket top left. And what he does, making it better than as he plays the keyboard into the black is in space. What he needs now is to watch the reds and then take down the frame perhaps. But there is a problem. Red, the one that is close to the cushion at the bottom right end of the table. He may want to play the keyboard now into that red. Something that could split up that red. Anything will do. And with power. Keyboard off 2 cushions. 1, 2 cushions. He lacked direction. He may go for bank off the left cushion into the corner pocket bottom left where he's playing from now. It could go in. It's in. You are looking at one of the best clearances of the match, given for a player as good as Jerry. This one was special. Power, black. Frame is 1. Another by Jerry. Black. From the three streams where this match is happening officially, Q Pixels Photography Facebook, Peter Chewe Live YouTube, and of course the home stream that is Chana Pro Club YouTube. Thank you for watching, thank you for viewing, thank you for liking, thank you for sharing, thank you for keeping the spirit of African pole alive. Many matches aren't about ending. I have to admit, I do expect that by the end of this week, the men shall already have been separated from the boys. Maybe nobody will be willing to play against any other anymore. Maybe some guys will be. They'll be done with what they came with as budgets. Some guys will be fearing to rematch, some guys will be homesick. Unless chairman, as he normally does something, because yes, he normally likes to surprise us in a very good way. I want to believe that a Super 16-man comp is not completely out of order, most especially that we have players from Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, Malawi, South Africa, Tanzania, and a little bit of South Sudan. Now, as yellow cross, this one folded pick, plays the keyboard into the yellow, almost got it in, and gets himself snookered. For once, it will go down as bad pattern play of the cushion and another into the red. He just played it with power, hoping for luck. Now, here comes the pride of Harare. It's not easy subjecting himself, but he is wide up by Ishmael, playing too many matches with Gente 1 month and maybe 2 weeks ago. Then inviting any other who may want to come to the party, the Ibra and Dog City, taking the invitation, then Yahya, then Ian, then the Tanzanians, then being united on the portable and they. The other success story is Ian has been winning an international competition for the very first time in the singles yesterday. Another success story. The China Knights as the team winning their first ever international team event. Yesterday when they beat Big Girls in the team event final. I want to believe that even now they are still celebrating. In fact, they are showing off. The trophy is right. Jerry has the ability to pot a ball even with this kind of difficulty, and no matter how easy he's making the pot, you are watching Africa's potting machine doing exactly what he does best.
One time this guy is going to break a block ball. How did that
And
work?
this was just not being good enough. There are a few times where he has clicked enough. Sometimes a few misses, sometimes breaking dry. Sometimes Jerry has made himself 2 hours and 45 minutes that day. Try and win this from ESHCA. Don't let Jerry's as more than something that Jerry is more than able to protect, to cling to try. here we are. He could play the keyboard into the black or yellow close to black, place it into red close to black, and that is even better. Every time he's not visiting the table, that visit is standing into victory. Hands straight, support black to corner pocket, top left to bottom left. Now black is sunk. Every time he plays the broken by Jerry. Hits the red hard. Will he make a bubble? Yes, he does. The resting position of the keyboard will be critical here. Now, going for the yellows is for the South African. Going for A14. Of course, he's trying to redeem his tour of Kenya so far. It has been nothing short of failure, participating in 2 events. A singles event where he lost to the young Uganda Jackson, and then the team event where his team big kills came short in the final, losing out to the Channel Knights. He's supposed to be the biggest inspiration for the team. He's also the biggest name in Kenya right now. He was the tournament favorite. He's also the hours of this morning. He did take down Kelvin in another money match, impromptu organization. But for the same stake, will he put the yellow? Will he bank it in? The bank is in with a little bit of luck off the red. Okay, another piece of hard work to do by Jerry. A shortcut of the yellow. Maybe he's going to the back. Maybe shortcut. Goes for the shortcut and misses. Plays the keyboard into ESHCA's red. Now here comes the chance for ESHCA. I don't even know what he may want at some point in the frame to go for safety. Maybe his mind, ESHCA, is bent on going for the frame and going for it now. He needs all the composure, all the bravery of the kids that are born in Mbare. The keyboard will not, but it shouldn't be daring, be safe. Did well. Off one cushion, keyboard intercepts the movement of the yellow, which would have been the comeback against Jerry. For a choice of official, he plays one of the rings away from another, and now this makes the frame a little towards the red near the center pocket. He plays to have sight of the ring. That's in very. There he does, and this is. He went for a risk where there was a safer shot. The risk has it paid off. Jerry goes for the bank, and the bank is in, and the rest is a formality. Jerry passes the black direct or off the red, goes off the red, and puts it nonetheless, and wins the frame and records. A14 and in international rules, it becomes a win of a frame. It's called a golden break or reds. He's going for safety, and I think he has played this off enough living in keyboard of any color. He will want to go for the frame. As ESHCA gets to port a ball, then he can get to port a few balls, then perhaps Jerry hopes that he doesn't, and then Jerry himself does take the frame away. Now temptingly for ESHCA, port yellow to the corner pocket, top left, draw the keyboard backwards with left spin, play it into the red, close to the black, play the black in space, and go once and for all, and does exactly that. Gets three hits happening on the table, and has necessarily played a little backspin, such that by rolling the yellow, the keyboard to follow the yellow almost all the way. He wants to put the last yellow to the corresponding corner pocket, bottom right. This one he's playing to the bottom left, keyboard off the left cushion, and the frame is now winnable. Winnable by ESHCA. Just with a chance, Jerry gave him to pot a ball. He did cross the table and is going for the clearance that could give him a 6, especially right after timing. He's again played with a little too much power. His intention was perhaps to play the black to the corner pocket, top left. He can still win the frame. Maybe it was even his intention at the end of the day, playing black into the side pocket and putting it. That was a reminder to Jerry that while he's in Nairobi opposite Prestige Plaza, our location, a match between ESHCA and Jerry, the players, South Africa and Zimbabwe. The count is 3,000. As ESHCA gets to close the table, the Zim is playing a red. The kid from Bale in Harare against the kid from Durban in KwaZulu-Natal. The guy that won 6 of 8 National Elite Players Association of Zimbabwe Association events in there. That was 2024. With 2025 having the crowning moment of himself as officially Zimbabwe's finest. And the time that he beat very decisively competition from other players like Malvan Mokwanza, like Blessing Zaruri, among others. But most especially those two, with all the due respect to others of Zimbabwe's finest shooters like Sakala, amongst others. But Jerry does not want to know about any of those records Every time he gets to visit the table, he has one thing in mind. Finish what will be the ongoing frame. He now wants to put the remaining yellows on the table to the corresponding center pockets, left and right, and the black to another of the center pockets, perhaps the same way he puts the previous yellow, and wins the frame, and records another. He now needs to win 6. While he's opening, here comes ESHCA. This time around, he gets to scratch on the break. When that happens, there is no prize for guessing what is up. The cue ball played into the black, and plays the black in space, as though he's listening to the commentator. The pride of and going for yet another red apple right in Nairobi is now deciding to play reds, most especially after not a convincing position of the yellows after the fish shot was taken. But yet another red has to bounce the keyboard off the right cushion a little. He has sight of the red that is the front side. A 2, playing with the batsman, the keyboard naturally moves leftwards, a little leftwards, top cushion and the left cushion. To move the keyboard just around the middle of the table, the movement of the white is intercepted by the black, and support diagonal to the corner pocket, bottom left, and puts with power. Moves the keyboard rightwards, frame finishable, lead extendable. But has to be special here. Keyboard off the left cushion, with a miss on the ball. He's potting with a little stroke of luck and not just a stroke of genius. Now, even in more trouble, with nowhere to hide, he wants to contemplate playing a red off yellow, put red with the corner pocket at the bottom. He almost got it in. This round almost turned out to be good enough. No business trying to win this match, most especially with his opponent having such a healthy lead. And the word on the street is all any African player that we want to have action against ESHCA. You are open for business. And finally, after Jerry missed the last it wasn't common practice in the previous frame. When Jerry failed on a clearance, the only way he responds, but he'll be having the problem of the black so close to the jaw, over the pocket, the center right. Now his movement of the keyboard will be in question a little here, maybe have a shortcut of the red against the red, play the keyboard into black. Into black? Not really. I'm not so certain black is pretty wizard, it could be the white. He may go for the red, may go for the shortcut, it was for the shortcut, and sinks the black and wins the frame, and the South African extends his lead. 1.5 years ago at Bounce, when he led, I think, by 16 frames to 10 against Caesar, racing to 21, but Caesar won the match, I think, 21 frames to 17 or something. He made himself a little bit unplayable in the last session of the match. ESHCA as well at his ESHCA Arena. Late last year, lost against the Ugandan, that is Joseph Kasozi. But he has won a money match against Melbourne also, and has got 2 money match victories of the racing to 21 against the Zambian, that is Calvin. But then every time that ESHCA seems to have control of the frame, Jerry does something to grab the control away. And this is the something Jerry is doing. I'm not supposed to cut with the red into the yellow. He goes for rain, by rain drive to the corner pocket and misses. And here comes ESHCA. Of course, friends like this will be very critical for him when Jerry goes for a clearance and misses it out. These ones, ESHCA should not let Jerry back on the table. And again, he lets him in. Into the yellow, at the center pocket on the right to put red off the yellow. He went so close, but not close enough. And this match is so special that it's being given the latitude to be the only match that is being played today. What to do? He goes for the connection. Again, misses out. Again, another chance to ESHCA. Perfect connectivity by ESHCA. The little bit of a problem may be the position of the black, only if his pattern doesn't feel come through. Otherwise, he has no business not winning this frame. in his current visit of the table. He wants to put yellow at the bottom cushion, right? Bounce the keyboard off the bottom cushion, move it a little towards where the other two yellows are. You may have to bounce the keyboard off two cushions. He plays just perfect backspin. And we'll play a shot with the same exact skill and same exact quality. Again, play backspin, try and put both yellow and black to the same corner pocket, bottom right. Again, perfect. The Rain Brave within the match. ESHCA 8, Jerry 16, rest 21 for 3,000. In zero, Rax frame number 24. There have been a few balls spotted by Jerry, both a yellow and a red. Leaving an open table in which the South African will want to win the frame with yet another upward respond to what ESHCA did previous frame. Every time ESHCA wins the frame, Jerry wins the very next. The match has now been happening for just approximately 2 hours exactly. And you factor in about 10 minutes of timeout. It has been happening for a little less than that. Like I said before, maybe the 2 hours and 45 minutes, I assumed it will be played for maybe a little too much time, most especially when one of the players involved in the match is the fastest potter that Africa has to date. Jerry will be putting the penultimate hero to the corner pocket top left. Bounce the keyboard off the left cushion, move it a little rightwards. There he'll be having full sight of the last hero. Which you'll want to play via by roll, then play the keyboard into black or the red close to the black to create space for the black. Plays it into the red, gets himself looked but doesn't even pot. The fact that the scoreboard is not yet flipped, the scores for ESHCA are 8 and plays one of the beautiful shots he has played in this match. With a nice right spin by the keyboard, with backspin playing it off the cushion, just into the red, just in time for him to open up the frame and go for the clearance. That will be him, ESHCA, winning 2 frames in succession for what is only the second time in the match. The red he's playing, putting to the corner pocket, top right will almost certainly guarantee him victory of frame number 25. Spin back and moves rightwards, and the rest is a formality. The same is down, but no take out. ESHCA versus the black. On the bed of the portable. With the intention of equaling his performance last time out that he faced off against ESHCA, when he was only able to conceive 9 frames. If ESHCA wins one more, at least he'll be bettering his performance in the first match. But no way it will be him winning the match unless something serious happens to Jerry's pattern, like missing balls with that ease, and the chance comes to ESHCA to try and take the victory away. Seventeen frames remaining. Jeremiah and Idol leading against ESHCA Team Wanderers into 21 for victory that will come with $3,000 here at Mchana Pabandville in Nairobi. With Jerry having won the previous frame with an apple, he comes short of recording a green one in the very next frame, and ESHCA will want to respond by taking the frame away. Now needed to put the last red on the table to the corner pocket top left. It has to be perfect cushion drive for the red to move right against the rail. If played perfectly, it will go in. The keyboard for the black will be pretty natural for black to the center pocket on the left, and the rest is a formality. ESHCA versus the black to go into double figures for the first time in the match. Oh yes, for the neutrals, double figures are. One of those times that you can no longer afford to miss, and yet before I could even miss the king, complete the statement, ESHCA does gets to miss a ball again. Africa's potting machine comes to the table to take down yet another frame. And maybe, just without consideration of the rest of 9 in the tournament that he lost against Jackson Asiku for the 2 just concluded months, Jerry was a little too much. I remember him winning a comp at Hot Shots in Tongat near Durban City that had players from about 5 countries or from the SADC region. He defeated Kelvin in the final. He also won a 4-man comp just about 2 weeks later. He won 2 money matches against Aiden just about 3 weeks later. He won a money match against ESHCA another week later. And now, 13 days later, he could be on the verge of taking down ESHCA yet again, having now to put yellow to the center pocket, right, black to the center pocket left, with a perfect play of the keyboard right into ESHCA's reds to support the stopping of the white and support. The giant South African sometimes just seems to be playing a little against himself. Once again, dear viewers, all of you that are now over 2,000 watching combined on the streaming platforms that are live, thank you very much, Africa. How nice the sport is uniting the continent, and how many countries are being represented in this match and managed by Nigeria. The streamers are Kenyan course to finish the frame with just one visit of the table. It's just that sometimes Jerry can be very, very, very bullish. It does not take away the fact that ESHCA is a very good player himself, and his results speak for themselves, most especially the Timbuktu International Tournament victory that happened in Eldoret in Western Kenya that had 220 of Africa's best players united in the competition, competing for $11,600. That match on the day belonged to ESHCA. But now what he wants is 3,000. To get it, he must win 11 before Jerry wins 3 out of the remaining 12. For ESHCA to win 11, this one should be the first of them all he gets to miss, but that is a technical snooker. Jerry can only play reds off the left cushion. Highly likely he'll find them, maybe snooker ESHCA himself off the cushion into red, but power just a little extra. And the keyboard is in place where he can put one of the arrows to the corner pocket. It's a pot keyboard so close to the remaining yellow. I realize he wants to play snooker. It is not a perfect snooker. Jerry has 8 of part of the red. I want to think he may want to play red off the red cushion. Playing the red is not easy for him. Frame number 28. Bouts between two players and organized money match between Zimbabwe's ESHCA Chimbwanda donning all red and South Africa's Jeremiah Naito donning the light wig of Pictures, his management team. As for ESHCA, he's managed by Nibson Select, one of the best managed players he is on the African continent, well facilitated, well financed, with the management that can just take the risk of loss by inviting any player that has an African passport both to Harare. As long as the player does accept, they will as well be visited to the venue of that. First player to head to the core of ESHCA was this guy, Jeremiah Naito, who won the first match in Harare by 21 frames to 9. This time around, there is a pending likelihood that Jerry could win again, but with ESHCA already having outplayed himself, especially giving the score of the first match. The Zimbabwean will want to put the last red on the table in frame number 30 to the center pocket on the left, and then black to the corner pockets bottom right. Maybe he's opting to take the black into that corner pocket bottom left, and if it is in, the Zim will have a dozen of frames one, and yes, that is the case. And the last 30 minutes of this have seen ESHCA play at pretty much the level. Here we are, viewers, with Jerry going for a 19th If the red is looking at if it can pass, maybe the frame will be as good as gone. And yes, it passes with 3 reds left on the table now. 2 of them portable by connection, one into another, but keyboard to be played with a little backspin, bouncing it off the cushion and placing it somewhere perfect enough to believe that both reds will now be ported in the same bits of the table, just as is the black. Draw the keyboard backwards into the yellow, it avoids the yellow, but it is even better has to play the keyboard now off the cushion to move it all the way towards, but to avoid any contact with any of ESHCA 0. The black with this kind of position, even Francis Mkuku can port. Jeremiah, Nigel, 19, and
it worked like that. The long it, yeah.
now this ongoing frame is a test of what Jory can do on the technical side of play, as there is a pile up of reds and yellows all so close to each other, most especially at the top right end of the table. And this kind of game, you get a feeling it has series of consecutive frames. Even his collection of skills has not been sufficient this time around. In playing master shot, he was able to cap the keyboard round the yellow, one round the red, sorry, but he did not find the yellow. As for Jerry, his intention for the free shot was to play the keyboard into the pile of balls with power, create an opening between the rose and the reds, which he now has and would very easily be going for the frame. But it was likely only he would want to play the 2 yellows so close to each other, try to put one to the corner pocket's top right, which he does. No, he did not put. Maybe he's losing the frame and he's losing it now. These ones, Jerry normally goes for attack and he does so fast and so effortless, almost certainly. Every move like this of his ends in putting the black. Just keyboard manipulation, just simple pots. With a number of reds in the table now, on 4. He will put one to the side pocket on the right first, a keyboard editor off cushion into the black, and fortunately Jerry plays the black so close to the corner pocket top right where ESHCA has his yellows. For each of recovery, he may as well play the keyboard into the blue, has to play the keyboard into the black, or the yellow that is occupying the corner pocket at the top right, to create space for him to put the black and win the frame and come within one of the victory. Keyboard to the loss of $3,000. Jeremiah, Japan born, supposed to have been playing his home games in Japan, but professionalism demanded him to play of African pool for a whole ticket for a player of Jerry's level to lose 9 frames in a row in a match this big, with a pot this big, with $3,000 at stake. And after the defense by ESHCA, Jerry gets the portable which could put him on the players that will play. A $3,000 players now having 5 yellows on the table. One of them now portable to the side pocket from the right with a little back spin on the keyboard, in a position where he can put either of 2 reds he has in sight, especially the 2 that are in space, putting one, drawing the keyboard off 2 cushions and backwards, and beautifully. Pinpoint accuracy, not just the port, but also the manipulation of the keyboard, but misses the very next shot, and grants chance for ESHCA back in the frame. And here comes now Mr. Harai, with nowhere tight, with every chance days. He may play himself out of the keyboard here. It was big played off cushions with big left spin, but a little misguided is the keyboard in its movement. He may want to play safety here. How safe will he be? Not safe enough. If Africa's potting machine can sink one here, we may have to make a countdown for the victory. Jerry passes the red to the corner pocket diagonally. It is in. Keyboard played round another red. He may have now the position of a black for any reason to have a worry about the victory of the frame. The penultimate red is putted now to the corner pocket top right. Now, as sides having his hands. That's what is out of his mind. Keyboard off 3 cushions, played into the yellow. That's not what Jerry wanted. And also started cushion, he may be like, my goodness. That is the most surprising way to win a frame. and win the match.